Now on CoastTV News.
Water sitting on Long Neck streets, how neighbors are preparing for more flooding.
Already eroded dunes and fears in Broadkill Beach ahead of Aaron.
A dangerous surf warning in Fenwick Island, what lifeguards are extra cautious of today.
And Aaron's influence on our weather is on the increase, even more so than what you've just seen. I'll update you on the latest watches and warnings.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
Calm waters for now at the inland bays. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. We begin tonight with preparations for Aaron along the coast.
On your screen now are parts of roads that still have water on them. This is in the Long Neck area from recent rain. Coast TV News reporter Brandon Ferguson is live there in Long Neck. And Brandon, neighbors say they're ready.
Maddie, neighbors say the flooding from the Rehoboth Bay was at its worst on Monday, but with more heavy rain and wind expected, they're gearing up for round 2. Walking through water and driving through water.
We've been through this before, so we'll be prepared.
That's what neighbors in the Long Neck area like Ron Amadio have been doing this week. Amadio has seen flooding like this in years past. The Riverdale Boat Club underwater, and an oak orchard on River Road turns into a literal river. He has a unique way of telling how bad the flooding is.
We look around, and I guess I can look this way, and there's a dirt line right over here, and you can see the last couple days we've had some water up here in the yards and everything, but nothing more than we've ever had.
And speaking with neighbors off camera here in Bay City, they said the worst of the flooding came on Monday night during high tide. They said these waters came up over the dock and onto the land, creating problems for some people trying to use their car. Lucy Thompson is visiting the coast from Virginia. She says start preparing now in case Aaron brings storm surges like this one.
I'm a little concerned about it, but I'm concerned about everybody. Just want everybody to be safe.
Preparing is something Amadio already has on the mind.
We're going to start tying down our stuff here, our table, our chairs. I've moved the plants down. They usually sit up here, so I think we'll be prepared.
For people in Long Neck, flooding isn't new, but it's how you prepare for flooding that is the difference maker. People in Long Neck I spoke to off camera say they're expecting the brunt of this flooding to happen over the next 2 days, but everyone is preparing for what Mother Nature brings off of the Rehoboth Bay. Live in Long Neck, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
Brandon, thank you. And with the potential for flooding, let's tell you something the CDC has just reported, that over half of all flood-related drownings occur when a car is driven into hazardous flood water. So the National Weather Service says, of course, never drive around barriers that block a flooded road. If it seems like water is taking over the road, turn around, don't drown, and as always, drive slow to avoid hydroplaning.
Let's move things over to Broadkill Beach now, where already eroded dunes are causing concern ahead of Aaron. Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken is live there at Broadkill Beach. Emma, locals and visitors alike worry that the storm is only going to make it worse.
Charlie, check out these houses here at Broadkill Beach and follow us over to the water. You can note just how close these houses are to the water. And these dunes protecting the houses are already being worn down by the waves. Locals say while this storm may not bring damage to the infrastructure, it's one step in that direction. And one local man we spoke with says he's worried it could set parts of the beach back by a decade. DNREC has already listed Hurricane Aaron as a severe erosion event. One visitor we spoke with says he's noticed wearing away each year that he visits. And we spoke with a man who lives along the beach. He says Hurricane Aaron certainly won't help an already vulnerable area.
I believe that after we get the leftovers of the hurricane that's offshore now, that the rest of this here will be gone and the waves will be crashing where the old dune was.
And DNREC says they will be keeping a close watch on the damage from these waves through Saturday when things are expected to calm down. Reporting live here at Broadkill Beach, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
And this brings us right into our Coast TV poll. We want to know, how do beach closures impact your plans?
Let's take a look at the results so far. Take a look at your screen, and 90% say no impact, 5% say major disruption, and 5% say slight change.
We'll see if these numbers change throughout the evening. You can leave a comment, or you can go vote at coasttv.com. You can also use our mobile app.
Our coverage of Hurricane Erin continues in Fenwick Island, where a red flag warning remains in effect. Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zappe is live there. And Kevin, yesterday brought high tide closer to the dunes.
Maddie, as of right now, the high tide is nowhere near where it was on Tuesday, where the waves ended right here, just feet away from the dunes. Now, according to the Fenwick Island Beach Patrol Lieutenant Will Dowds, they saw strong rip currents and dangerous surf conditions, leading them to restrict anyone from entering the water today. And for Thursday, they plan to close the entire beach. As for the bay side of town, preparations are already being made for tomorrow's weather. And one local who lives in Fenwick Island is ready to stay put.
Roads will be flooded, we'll be stuck back there, and I'm just going to ride it out. My house is 3 stories high, so I'm good. She gets a little swaying action back and forth.
Now, according to the Fenwick Island Beach Patrol, they expect tomorrow to be the worst day yet. I'm Kevin Zappe, live in Fenwick Island, Coast TV News.
Thank you, Kevin. And we have been all weather related so far. So as we take a live look into Rehoboth Beach, and you can see some of the waves there crashing in, it is time to check in with our chief meteorologist, Paul Williams.
Well, here's the latest look at Erin. Erin is now moving to the north at 14 miles per hour, sustained winds at 110. I noticed something in the last few frames. Watch this eye, watch the eye of the hurricane. You see how it's going north? Now watch these last few frames. There it goes, leaning towards the northeast. So we're seeing the track change as we speak. For the coast, tropical storm force winds, along with the possibility of hurricane strength gusts occasionally, but that's close to the edge if that's a possibility. Inland, we're looking for breezy conditions, 15 to 25 miles per hour, wind gusts up to 35. Coastal flooding expected. Now, major flooding expected over from Lewis to Long Neck, possibly reaching into Millsboro, Ocean View, as well as down towards Fenwick Island, with 2 feet of inundation possible. Currently, the wave heights are at about 5 feet, but that's nothing compared to what's on the way. Watch this. What? We go to 9:30 Thursday, we're at up to 8 feet. This is the time period I'm most concerned with. At 3:30 on Thursday, look for possibly 12-foot surge force, Bottom Hills up to Dewey Beach down to about 10 feet. Now, this is just the beginning of the sparsing of what to expect as far as inundation is concerned. We're going to go even more detailed coming up a little bit later in the newscast, so be sure you don't go anywhere. Maddie?
Paul, thank you. The White House is being accused of illegally withholding millions of dollars in federal funds. Those are being withheld because states are resisting the administration's demands to cooperate with the president's immigration crackdown.
New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin is leading the charge in this lawsuit. Here is what he has to say on that matter.
Well, let's be clear what we're doing. We cooperate with the federal government on immigration proceedings for a whole range of violent criminals and other folks who have violated the law. Their talking point is a complete lie.
The funds that are being withheld are for states to compensate victims of various crimes.
Where and when are the 2 big questions surrounding President Trump's wish to end the war in Ukraine. But as Monica Alba shows us today, the Russians are publicly sounding less committed to a meeting as they continue to ramp up attacks in eastern Ukraine.
President Trump continuing to express confidence that the leaders of Russia and Ukraine could soon meet face-to-face to negotiate an end to their 3.5 years long war.
We're going to try and stop it, and I think we have a good shot.
But today, the Russians are throwing cold water on that. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov saying that talks between lower-level Russian and Ukrainian officials must take place before a sit-down between the country's presidents is set. Lavrov adding that discussions about security guarantees for Ukraine now taking place among U.S. and European leaders, but not the Russians, are a, quote, road to nowhere. Despite that, more than 30 NATO military leaders held a video conference today to talk about what security guarantees for Ukraine, which would satisfy both Ukraine and Russia, might look like. It comes after another intense night of Russian bombing in eastern Ukraine. Officials there say 60 drone strikes injured more than a dozen people.
the Russians have no interest, and they've demonstrated no interest in stopping this war.
Former ambassador to Ukraine Bill Taylor says Russia has no incentive to negotiate with Ukraine.
You said they're going to drag it out. They want to continue to pound the Ukrainians until they get what they want, and that's why standing up to them is the only way to do it.
Some lawmakers now urging the president to get tougher on President Putin.
I think the only way to do that, if he does not move forward quickly with this summit or with a ceasefire, is with very strong sanctions.
The White House has not said where a meeting between Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky could take place or when, but an administration official said Budapest, Hungary, and Geneva, Switzerland are two possible locations that are being discussed. Monica Alba, NBC News, Washington.
The Manos-Conaway project continues in Lewis. What road in the area will permanently close to make room for a new service roads and more.
Aaron's impact is being initiated in the form of a tropical storm warning now, with updates on the latest movement of this very large storm.
But first, shovels in the ground to turn an empty field into an industrial park. How many jobs it's expected to bring to Kent County next.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
Ground was broken today for the long-planned Harrington Industrial Park. After nearly 40 years of planning, the project is moving forward thanks to a $3.4 million federal grant. Officials say the 130-acre park could create up to 750 jobs.
Delaware congressional leaders called this an important step in laying the foundation for Harrington's future.
This is a great day for Kent County, for Harrington, frankly for all of Delaware, when we've got new high-quality jobs being made possible through a long-term joint partnership.
Harrington leaders say they hope to get the industrial park open by spring 2026.
Taking a look at your Bay forecast, we're looking for scattered showers in Cambridge, very gusty winds for us in Crisfield, and as you go farther south, we are concerned about tropical force winds there as well. Your detailed analysis of Aaron coming right up. The latest look outside live showing you vibrant waves crashing along the shore, and it's going to get even more active as we progress throughout the night going into tomorrow. But this is a live depiction of what's going on. Folks are not allowed in the water, but they're allowed to watch. We have the winds right now coming off the water at about 13 miles per hour Indian River Inlet, but that's going to become even more of a problem. Updated and upgraded. A tropical storm warning now in effect, really along the entire, basically, Atlantic facing shore for us for the Delmarva Peninsula. This stays in effect until Saturday. We're watching out for 39, up to 39, possibly even 55 to near 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Along with that, coastal flood warning now in effect. So we're expecting it imminent. That'll continue to be a concern until 2 o'clock Saturday morning. And this includes inland areas, possibly up towards Georgetown. And this is for the entire coast and inland areas. We have at least a coastal flood advisory likely for us in and around Salisbury. So we're looking at the outer ridges of this gigantic storm affecting the folks as far west as Nanticoke and Deal Island. A small craft advisory also in effect along the Bay area. So we have precipitation staying very limited at this point. Got a couple of isolated cells that's firing up on the other side of the peninsula, but generally speaking, we're relatively quiet. Here's the edge of Aaron beginning to approach. Now, Aaron is just a wallop size of a storm. 110 mile per hour sustained winds. It's moving directly north at about 14 miles per hour according to the latest recon information. But I noticed this last few frames, watch this eye. You see how it begins to swing towards the northeast? We're already starting to see it turn towards the northeast. And so that's allowing for that projection of it becoming a category 3, but turning away from the coast, looking like a much better bet for us. Although we do have a good deal of warnings for hurricane force winds along the east coast. It falls just shy of our immediate area. And we're looking for that outer edge, still at least 200 miles away. As it swings out to colder water, it'll begin to lose some of its strength. That hurricane wind field, as it moves through, it's going to move through rather quickly. This is the main focus. If you don't get anything else, let's get this together. We're looking at 8 to 12 foot waves. Bottom hills by 4:30, we're looking at about 10. We're looking at this being 8, 10, and this is about 12 here. So that's why the color delineation is important. By Thursday evening, we'll drop down to 7 to 8 feet, okay? From Dewey Beach, Bottom Hills, but the farther south you go, the more exasperated the situation. So we take a look at Ocean View. You see this once again. This is where we have the 12, that darker red. It squeezes in a little bit tighter to us, but it stays just below 8 feet right next to the highway. But we have that surge that's going to start making its way towards us, so we can't rule out the possibility of it causing that kind of complication. For tonight, going into tomorrow, swells up to 8 to 14 feet. Tidal flooding, beach erosion, that's going to be a big concern with 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts and in excess of that. Tomorrow, we're looking for it to stay rainy. Number 2 o'clock, we're looking for the winds to really pick up momentum at about 20 miles per hour steadily, and even more with the wind gusts. Take a look at this. Thursday morning, 33 to 32 mile per hour wind gusts. But here's where everything hits the fan, folks. Right here at 3 o'clock, 50 mile per hour wind gusts, Bethany Beach, 40 mile per hour wind gusts, Rehoboth Beach, 46 mile per hour wind gusts, Ocean City at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it sticks around until about 7:30, at least with 40 mile per hour wind gusts. That being said, we pulled through Friday with it clearing out nicely in the morning time, and we'll recover nicely by the afternoon. But once again, we got to get to Friday first. Finally, here's a look at your extended forecast. Once again, be mindful of the dangerous swells and rip currents for Thursday between 2 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon is when I'm expecting the worst of the wind.
All right, Paul, thank you. Well, one Lewis Road will close permanently. Let's take a look at Devon Road. It leads to Mill Pond Acres right off of Route 1. DelDOT's going to put a pinned barrier wall there, saying that will eliminate the crossover access to Route 1 that you can see right here on the map. And closing Devon Road will support the next construction phase of a much larger project.
DelDOT says changing Minos Conaway Road will help eliminate 8 Route 1 crossovers. There have been a lot of accidents from people trying to cross the highway in that area. DelDOT says adding roundabouts and a service road will also improve safety.
Coming up tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network at 7, we have live Shorebirds baseball from Purdue Stadium. The Birds continue their series with Kannapolis Cannonballers. Then at 10:30, we have the final score.
And coming up, immigrants are being screened for anti-Americanism. What that is and how immigrant officers conduct the process, that's up next. Stay tuned on Coast TV News at 5.
We salute Anthony LaMancha for his courageous service aboard the USS Pueblo during the Vietnam War. In 1968, Tony and his shipmates were captured by North Korea and held as prisoners of war for 11 months. Enduring hardship with strength and resilience, Tony's bravery and sacrifice remain a powerful testament to the courage of all who serve. We honor and thank him for his service to our nation.
Spicer Brothers and Coast TV are honoring military persons and first responders serving Delmarva. If you have a family member, friend, or community member that you would like to nominate for a Coast TV salute, go to coasttvsalutes.com.
The Trump administration says people applying to live or work in the U.S. will now face questions about, quote, anti-Americanism. Authorities say that includes an expanded social media check. They say immigration officers will look for, quote, any involvement or anti-American or terroristic organization or evidence of anti-Semitic activity. Immigration advocates and lawyers say that this is too broad and could deter people from coming to the U.S.
The Department of Homeland Security plans to paint the steel wall along the southern border black. Secretary Kristi Noem announced Tuesday President Donald Trump made that request for it to be painted as an effort to make the wall too hot to climb during warm weather. The chief of the U.S. Border Patrol also added black paint will prevent rust on the wall. Noem didn't say how much it would cost to paint. McDonald's is slashing the prices of its combo meals after admitting its menu has gotten too expensive. They said its most popular combos will be 15% less than the cost of those items separately. Other expansions include a $5 breakfast deal and also an $8 Big Mac and Nugget special. Let's go ahead and take a live look outside into Ocean City, a view at the bay there. One more check of the forecast after this.
Coming up new on Coast TV News at 6, volunteers in Lewis turn the town teal. The reason and more on Coast TV News at 6.
Speaking of Lewis, here's a view of Lewis right now. Cloudy skies, 82 degrees. Winds are out of the north at 5. That's going to be on the increase quickly. We're going to stay cloudy for the rest of the night. Our umbrella giveaway winner is Kathy Loy of Delmar. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling. Keep up with your forecast. We've updated what's happening with the latest watches and warnings dealing with Aaron. Call 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away. Sponsored by the law offices of Bruckstead, Mendalis, and Federico. Finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Dangerous swells and rip currents, particularly for Thursday, between 2 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I am expecting 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts for the beaches.
All right, Paul, thank you, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.